The day Earth had always feared had arrived. It was a clear morning, and the sky was painted with hues of blue and gold. People all over the world were going about their usual routines, unaware of the dark force approaching from the depths of space. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. A massive fleet of ships, unlike anything Earth had ever seen, appeared in the sky. These ships, sleek and menacing, were the vanguard of the Zorvian Collective, a ruthless alien empire that had already conquered dozens of planets in far-off star systems. As the first ship descended into Earth's atmosphere, it unleashed a deafening roar. The ship's engines burned the air around it, causing an explosion of sound and light. Buildings shook, windows shattered, and people screamed as they rushed to find shelter. The Zorvian ships, each one the size of a skyscraper, deployed an army of alien soldiers who immediately began their assault. Their weapons, powerful and advanced, left no chance for Earth's military forces to defend their cities. The Zorvians were merciless. They targeted major cities, aiming to break humanity's spirit. New York, Tokyo, Paris, London, each fell in a matter of hours. The once thriving capitals of Earth's civilization were now reduced to smoking ruins. The invaders had one goal: to take over Earth, to crush humanity beneath their booted feet, and they thought it would be easy. The Galactic Council, a group of powerful and ancient species that governed vast sections of the galaxy, had been watching Earth for centuries. They had always considered humanity to be a primitive species, unworthy of attention. Earth had no advanced technology, no spacefaring fleets, and no power to challenge the galactic empires that rule the stars. The council members believed that once the Zorvian Collective launched their invasion, the humans would quickly surrender or be wiped out entirely. But they were wrong. On the surface, Earth seemed defenseless. Its governments were in chaos, scrambling to respond to the sudden attack. The global military forces, despite their best efforts, were overwhelmed by the superior alien technology. Earth's leaders pleaded for help, but the Galactic Council, sitting high in their space stations and vast citadels, did nothing. They saw Earth's plight as unimportant, a mere squabble among lesser species, and so they allowed the Zorvian Collective to continue their conquest, thinking it was a mere formality. What they didn't know was that Earth had been preparing for this moment for years. The governments of Earth had long suspected that an invasion might one day come, hidden deep underground, far from the prying eyes of the invaders, and the Galactic Council, scientists, and military leaders had been working in secret. They had discovered an ancient alien technology buried beneath Earth's surface, a technology so powerful that it could change the course of any war. As the Zorvian soldiers pushed deeper into Earth's cities, the humans began to make their move. They activated the hidden technology, a dormant force field that had been discovered in a long-lost alien structure. This technology, once awakened, would turn the tide of battle. The force field had the power to neutralize all alien weapons and ships, rendering them completely useless. It was a gift from an ancient civilization that had left behind remnants of their incredible technology on Earth, perhaps knowing that one day humanity would need it. But this was just the beginning. The humans didn't just rely on the alien technology. Earth's military forces had spent years training in secret, developing new strategies and weapons, knowing they would need to stand up to a much stronger force. When the Zorvian Collective attacked, Earth wasn't as defenseless as the invaders had thought. Across the globe, humans began to fight back. Fighters took to the skies, launching hit-and-run attacks on the Zorvian ships. Ground forces, armed with new energy weapons, took the fight to the alien invaders, pushing them back from city after city. The Zorvian Collective had underestimated the resolve of humanity. The human spirit, despite all odds, proved to be the greatest weapon Earth had. In their control rooms, the Zorvian leaders watched in disbelief as their once perfect plans began to unravel. The humans were fighting back harder than they had ever imagined. The advanced technology they had once scoffed at, The simple determination of Earth's people was beginning to turn the war in humanity's favor. And far above the Earth, in the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, the leaders of the galaxy began to take notice. They had ignored Earth for too long, believing that humanity was nothing more than an insignificant species on a forgotten planet. But now, they were witnessing something they had never expected: a fight for survival, led by a species they had once dismissed as weak. The Zorvian collective might have started the war, but humanity would not go down without a fight. The stage was set. Earth's revenge had only just begun. As the days passed, Earth's resistance grew stronger. What had started as a series of desperate strikes against the invaders had quickly turned into a full-scale war. The Zorvian collective, once confident in their victory, now faced an unexpected challenge. They had assumed that Earth's primitive military would crumble under their advanced weaponry. Instead, the humans were proving to be a force to be reckoned with. In underground bunkers scattered across the planet, scientists and military leaders worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the ancient alien technology they had discovered months earlier. Deep within Earth's crust, hidden for millennia, lay the remnants of a civilization far older and more advanced than anything humanity had ever known. This alien race had left behind a series of powerful artifacts, and one, in particular, was the key to turning the tide of the war. The weapon, known only as the Force Matrix, was a mysterious energy source that could disrupt any technology in its path. When activated, it created an invisible field that could neutralize energy-based weapons and shields, rendering the invaders' ships and weapons completely useless. But there was a catch. The technology was ancient, and no one truly understood how it worked. It had taken years of study to even partially understand the Force Matrix, but now it was humanity's last hope. In a hidden underground lab, Dr. Evelyn Clark, one of Earth's top scientists, stood before the Force Matrix, her brow furrowed in concentration. She was the leading expert on alien technology, and she had spent countless hours studying the device. Today, she had a breakthrough. After numerous failed attempts, she finally managed to activate the Matrix. For a moment, the room was filled with a low hum, and then, with a flash of light, a shimmering energy field surrounded the device. Dr. Clark's heart raced as she watched the force field grow, expanding outward. It was alive, pulsing with power. She knew that this was the turning point. With this technology, humanity could take the fight to the invaders in ways they had never imagined. News of the successful activation spread quickly, and Earth's military leaders moved to implement the technology. Within hours, special teams were deployed to place smaller versions of the Force Matrix around key Zorgian strongholds. The first test came in the war-torn city of Los Angeles, once thought to be lost forever to the invaders. A group of elite soldiers, armed with the new alien technology, infiltrated the Zorgian command center. As they approached the heavily guarded building, the soldiers activated the Force Matrix. The effect was immediate. Zorvian weapons, designed to tear through Earth's defenses, suddenly stopped working. The soldiers' laser rifles sputtered and powered down, while the Zorvian ships hovering above the city dropped from the sky, their engines failing. The invaders, stunned and confused, scrambled to fix their damaged technology, but it was too late. The humans had the upper hand. Dr. Clark watched the reports from her lab, a sense of pride swelling inside her. She had known that Earth's future depended on this technology, and now it was being used to turn the tide of the war. But she also knew that this was only the beginning. The Zorvian collective, despite their losses, would not give up so easily. They were a ruthless empire, and they would fight with everything they had to maintain their control over Earth. Meanwhile, the Zorvian commanders, in their flagship orbiting above the planet, watched in disbelief. They had never encountered a species that could disrupt their technology. Their once unbeatable weapons and shields were now useless. The Zorvian leaders knew they had to act quickly, or they would lose everything. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. In response to the humans' newfound power, The Zorvians launched a counterattack. They sent wave after wave of ships to Earth, each one more powerful than the last. But each time, the humans were ready. The Force Matrix technology allowed them to take down ship after ship, turning the invaders' might into a shadow of its former strength. Even the Zorvian soldiers, who were trained to fight in the most hostile environments, found themselves powerless against the force field. They were forced to retreat, and for the first time since the invasion began, the Zorvian collective found themselves on the defensive. However, despite the success of the new technology, the war was far from over. The Zorvians were relentless, and they began to adapt. They sent teams of scientists to study Earth's technology, hoping to find a way to counter the Force Matrix. Meanwhile, Earth's leaders knew that their only chance for survival was to keep fighting and pushing the invaders back. They could not afford to wait for the Zorvians to regroup and strike again. Earth's military forces, bolstered by the power of the alien technology, continued to launch attacks, reclaiming city after city from the invaders. Back on Earth, as the war raged on, the Galactic Council finally began to take notice. Members from different alien races, who had long dismissed humanity as weak and insignificant, started to whisper about Earth's resilience. Some suggested that the humans were deserving of respect, while others believed that their use of the ancient technology made them dangerous. The Council's indecision and hesitation made one thing clear: Earth was no longer the helpless planet they had once thought it to be. But Earth's leaders knew the truth. While the Force Matrix gave them the power to fight back, they were still outmatched by the full might of the Zorvian collective. Their victory was not guaranteed, and they would have to keep fighting if they wanted to secure their freedom. And so, with the Force Matrix in hand and a renewed sense of determination, humanity prepared for the battles ahead, knowing that the war was far from over. The world had changed in a matter of weeks. Earth, once seen as a vulnerable, defenseless planet, now stood as a force to be reckoned with. The Zorvian collective, after initially overwhelming the planet's defenses, found themselves locked in a struggle they never expected. Their ships fell from the sky. Their soldiers were pushed back, and Earth's forces, using the mysterious Force Matrix, were slowly but steadily reclaiming their planet. Across the globe, humanity was fighting back with a newfound strength. Cities that had been reduced to rubble were now being retaken, one by one. Earth's military, once outmatched by the invaders' advanced technology, was now equipped with the ancient alien weapon. The Zorvian invaders were starting to panic. They had underestimated the humans in every way imaginable. In the ruins of New York City, the resistance fighters prepared for another strike. The streets, once filled with the sounds of bustling life, were eerily quiet. The city had been partially destroyed during the initial invasion. But now, thanks to Earth's relentless counterattacks, it was slowly being reclaimed. High above, Zorvian ships hovered, ready to launch another strike on the city. But they hadn't anticipated the humans' next move. General Marcus Langford, a seasoned commander in the Earth Alliance, stood at the front of his forces, his eyes fixed on the distant skyline. His soldiers, once fearful of the Zorvian threat, were now confident, eager for battle. They had learned from their earlier mistakes, and they were ready to push the invaders out of their planet once and for all. "We move in 2 hours," General Langford said, his voice calm but determined. "Stay focused. The Zorvians will fight back harder than before, but we've got the advantage. They don't know what's coming." The soldiers nodded, checking their weapons and gear. The plan was simple but effective. They would use the Force Matrix to disable the Zorvian ship's technology, and then launch a surprise attack on the invaders' command center in the heart of the city. It was risky, but they had no choice. Earth's survival depended on it. As the countdown began, the tension in the air grew thick. The resistance fighters moved in tight formations, their eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of movement. In the distance, the massive Zorvian ships began to position themselves, preparing for the inevitable battle. But the humans were already one step ahead. Suddenly, without warning, A bright flash lit up the sky as the first Force Matrix device activated. A wave of energy shot out from a hidden location on the ground, and the invaders' ships immediately started to malfunction. Their engines sputtered and failed, their weapons fell silent. The Zorvian soldiers, who had relied on their technology to control the battlefield, were now defenseless. General Langford gave the signal, "Move out." The resistance fighters surged forward, storming the streets of New York. They moved with precision and speed, taking advantage of the chaos that had overtaken the Zorvian forces. In mere minutes, Earth's soldiers had reached the heart of the Zorvian command center, a towering structure that had once seemed impenetrable. Now, it was a target waiting to be struck down. The Zorvian soldiers inside the command center were disoriented, unable to use their advanced weapons against the relentless assault of Earth's troops. The force field created by the Matrix technology had crippled their systems, leaving them exposed. Humans fought with everything they had, pushing forward with a sense of urgency. Every street they reclaimed, every building they retook, was a victory for the planet. The Zorvian leaders, who had been watching from their flagship, realized they were losing control. They had underestimated the human spirit. They had thought the invasion would be swift and easy, but Earth's soldiers were relentless. They fought not just for survival, but for their homes, their families, and their future. The humans, though outnumbered and underpowered compared to the Zorvian collective, had one thing that the invaders lacked: the will to fight. The Zorvians, accustomed to crushing civilizations with their might, were shaken by the fierce resistance they faced on Earth. The human soldiers were not just fighting with advanced weapons, but with a strength born from desperation, pride, and unity. Back in the war rooms, Earth's leaders kept a close eye on the battle. They knew this was a critical moment. If they could break through the Zorvian command center and capture their leaders, they could deal a devastating blow to the invaders' morale. But the Zorvians were not about to give up without a fight. They launched a counterattack, sending a wave of soldiers to reclaim the command center and force the humans back. The battle raged on for hours, with both sides taking heavy losses. The streets of New York became a battleground. But with every passing moment, the humans pushed closer to victory. The Zorvian forces, though technologically superior, began to crack under the pressure. Their soldiers faltered, their strategies became disjointed, and their morale plummeted. The human resistance was too strong, too determined. Finally, after a long and brutal fight, Earth's forces broke through the Zorvian lines. The command center was captured, and the Zorvian leaders were taken prisoner. The victory was hard-earned, but it was clear. Humanity had turned the tide. The Zorvian collective's grip on Earth was weakening. As General Langford stood victorious amidst the ruins of New York, he allowed himself a rare moment of relief. But he knew the war was far from over. The Zorvians would regroup. They would strike again. But now, humanity had a weapon to fight back. And they had something far more powerful than advanced technology: the will to survive. The resistance was just getting started. The battle for Earth had taken a dramatic turn. Humanity, once seen as weak and unprepared, had not only fought back against the Zorvian collective, but had begun to push them off their planet entirely. Cities were being retaken, and the Zorvian forces, once so confident in their superiority, were now on the defensive. Earth's resistance was growing stronger by the day, and the invaders were running out of time. In the heart of the Zorvian flagship, high above the planet, the mood was grim. The once mighty empire, known for crushing civilizations with ease, had been shocked by the unexpected resilience of humanity. Their ships, once the pride of their fleet, had been rendered powerless by the mysterious Force Matrix technology. Their soldiers, though powerful and ruthless, had been unable to hold back the human onslaught. And now, the Zorvian leaders were faced with a choice: continue the fight and risk losing everything, or call for reinforcements. But the Zorvian leaders had no intention of retreating. They had never been defeated before, and they were unwilling to let Earth become the first world to challenge their empire. In secret, they sent a distress signal to their allies across the galaxy, calling for help. Their message was clear: Earth must be crushed, and the resistance must be silenced, before the idea of human strength spread to other planets. Unbeknownst to the Zorvian collective, their actions were being observed. The Galactic Council, an assembly of advanced alien civilizations, had been watching the conflict unfold from a distance. For centuries, the Council had kept its eye on Earth, mostly dismissing the planet as insignificant. They had known of the Zorvian invasion, but they had not intervened. Earth's fate seemed unimportant to them, just another world caught in the crossfire of galactic power struggles. But as the war dragged on and the tide of battle shifted, the Galactic Council began to take notice. Representatives from several powerful species gathered in their grand chambers, discussing the unexpected turn of events. The Zorvian collective, once considered one of the most dominant empires in the galaxy, was faltering. And it was all because of humanity. "We cannot ignore this any longer," said Lord Talver, a member of the council from the Pranac species. His species had once controlled vast swaths of the galaxy, but now their power was waning. The Zorvians have underestimated the humans, and they are paying the price. If Earth successfully repels the invasion, it will send a message to the rest of the galaxy. "We cannot allow that," said Threx, a member of the Xylarian race, known for their intelligence and strategic minds. "If humans can defeat the Zorgian collective, they will become a beacon of hope for other civilizations. We cannot allow another species to rise in power so quickly. The balance of the galaxy will be destroyed. But if we intervene directly," warned Captain Rythik of the Sindari race, known for their swift and stealthy tactics, "we risk starting a war with humanity. The humans are not as weak as we once believed. If we try to stop them now, we may face a far greater threat in the future." The debate raged on, but one thing became clear: the Galactic Council was divided. Some members felt that Earth's survival was a threat to the established order of the galaxy, while others believed that humanity deserved a chance to prove themselves. Still, the Council's inaction in the face of Earth's struggle had already drawn the attention of the humans themselves. As Earth's military successes mounted, whispers of the Council's indifference began to spread. Back on Earth, leaders of the human resistance had begun to sense the growing pressure from beyond their world. They knew that the Zorgians were not acting alone, that there were forces in the galaxy who were watching, waiting, and possibly planning to intervene. They could feel the weight of the situation. The longer they fought, the more likely it was that their struggle would draw the attention of the larger, more powerful forces that controlled the galaxy. President Rachel Harris stood before her military advisors in the underground war room, her face grim. "The Zorgians are not the only problem we have now. We've beaten them on Earth, but we don't know what's waiting for us in the stars." General Langford, who had become a trusted leader of Earth's military, nodded. "We've managed to hold them off so far, but we need to prepare for the possibility of even greater threats. The Zorgian fleet has been crippled, but we don't know who else is watching. We can't let our guard down," said Dr. Evelyn Clark, the scientist who had helped unlock the Force Matrix technology. "The Zorvians may be down, but they're not out. If their allies from the Galactic Council decide to intervene, we'll have a much harder fight on our hands." The room fell silent as the weight of the situation settled over them. Earth had fought valiantly to reclaim their home, but they were not done yet. The galaxy had taken notice, and the future was uncertain. Would the Galactic Council choose to protect the Zorvians and crush humanity's hope, or would they let Earth chart its own path among the stars? As the resistance forces continued to fight on Earth, they could only wait, knowing that the next chapter in their struggle might be one that would take them beyond their world and into the unknown reaches of space. But one thing was certain: humanity would not back down. Their survival was at stake, and they would do whatever it took to protect their home, their freedom, and their future. The war had reached a critical point. Earth, though battered and scarred by months of relentless fighting, had not surrendered. Instead, humanity had risen to the challenge. using their ingenuity and newfound alien technology to turn the tide against the Zorgian collective. Yet, despite their victories, the battle was far from over. In the heart of Earth's capital, Washington, D.C., President Rachel Harris stood before a massive holographic display. She watched as reports of the latest skirmishes poured in. Cities were being liberated, but the Zorvian forces were not going down without a fight. The invaders still controlled large sections of Earth, and despite the use of the powerful force matrix technology, they were adapting. "We can't afford to lose momentum," General Marcus Langford said, his voice steady but full of concern. "The Zorvians have regrouped. They're desperate, and when an enemy is desperate, they fight harder." President Harris nodded. "We need to finish this. Earth has been under attack long enough, and we can't wait for reinforcements from the Galactic Council. We have to secure our planet's future once and for all." For the first time since the war began, there was a sense of uncertainty in the air. The Zorvian collective, though severely weakened, was still a formidable enemy. Their ships were falling from the sky, their weapons malfunctioning, but they were relentless. Earth's forces, while stronger than ever, knew that they had to act fast. The longer they waited, the more time the invaders had to regroup and recover. In the Zorvian command ship, hovering above Earth's atmosphere, the mood was one of anger and fear. The Zorvian leaders had underestimated humanity from the start, and now they were paying the price. Their fleet had been decimated by Earth's new weapons, and their soldiers were retreating in disarray. But there was still hope. "We cannot allow this planet to slip from our grasp," Commander Zothak growled, his yellow eyes burning with fury. "We must launch a final assault. The humans think they have the upper hand, but they are mistaken. Their technology is no match for ours." Zothak turned to his second-in-command, Tressa. "Prepare the fleet. We strike at dawn. All remaining forces will engage the humans in their heartlands. If we can destroy their leadership, we can crush their will to fight." Tressa hesitated for a moment. "And what of the force matrix, Commander? The humans have shown that it can neutralize our ships." Zothak's gaze hardened. "We will adapt. If they can't stop us on the ground, we will take this fight to the skies. We will show them that even their most advanced technology cannot save them." The Zorvian fleet, battered but still dangerous, prepared for one last offensive. It would be an all-out assault on Earth's remaining strongholds, and they would stop at nothing to break the human resistance. On Earth, the military was not blind to the growing threat. Earth's leaders knew that the Zorvians were preparing for a final, decisive strike. The time for small victories was over. If humanity was going to win this war, they would need to rally everything they had. General Langford's voice echoed in the war room. "We have to hold the line. If the Zorvian fleet reaches Earth's major cities, we could lose everything we fought for. We need to make a stand now." A plan was formed, one that would take all of Earth's remaining resources to carry out. The last of the military's heavy weapons were prepared, and Earth's forces began to position themselves in strategic locations, ready for the final battle. The resistance knew that the Zorvians would not give up easily, and neither would they. As the battle plans were laid out, Dr. Evelyn Clark, the scientist who had helped unlock the secrets of the Force Matrix, stood in a laboratory deep underground. She had been working on a new version of the Matrix, one that could be used in space, to disable the Zorvian ships once and for all. But time was running out, and she wasn't sure if they could finish it in time. "We can do this," Dr. Clark muttered to herself, staring at the blueprints. "We just have to believe in our strength." Meanwhile, President Harris addressed the people of Earth. Standing before a group of soldiers, she gave an inspiring speech, hoping to rally the population one last time. "Humanity has fought too hard to lose now," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "We have stood against the Zorvian collective and shown them that we will not be crushed. We've reclaimed our cities. We've pushed back their fleets. But now we must stand united for the final push. The Zorvians will strike again, but we are stronger than they think. We are Earth, and we will win." Her words were broadcast across the planet, and a sense of unity swept over the human race. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity felt a glimmer of hope. They were not alone. They had each other. As the final battle loomed, the Earth's military forces prepared for a fight like never before. The Zorvian fleet, though weakened, was still a powerful force to be reckoned with. But the humans had something the Zorvians didn't: hope, and a will to fight for their survival. The battle for Earth would soon reach its peak, and the outcome would determine the fate of the planet, and perhaps the future of the entire galaxy. The moment had arrived. Earth stood at the brink of victory or defeat. For months, humanity had fought back against the Zorvian collective, reclaiming cities, pushing back invaders, and defying the odds. The Zorvians, once certain of their dominance, had been forced to retreat again and again. But now, the invaders were preparing for a final, all-out assault on Earth. The skies above Earth were filled with ships, Zorvian warships, massive and menacing, their dark shadows blotting out the sun. They had regrouped, reinforced, and were now ready to unleash their full might on the planet. But humanity was not backing down. Earth's military was prepared for this moment. The time for small skirmishes was over. It was now or never. In Washington, D.C., President Rachel Harris stood before a large screen, watching the battle unfold on Earth's surface and in space. The war had escalated to a level that had once seemed unimaginable. The Zorvians were desperate. They had underestimated humanity, and now they would pay the price. "General Langford, are we ready?" President Harris asked, her voice steady but tense. She knew this was the most important moment in Earth's history. "Almost, Mom," General Langford replied, his eyes glued to the screen. "Our forces are in position, and we've activated the new version of the Force Matrix. It's ready. We'll strike first, disrupt their ships, and then move in for the final blow." Rachel Harris nodded, feeling a wave of determination. She had seen her people rise from the ashes of their once-occupied cities, and now they were ready for this. The Zorvians had brought war to Earth, and it was time for humanity to take their planet back. Across the globe, military forces were in place. Resistance fighters, soldiers, and civilians who had once been ordinary people were now trained warriors, each ready to fight for their home. From the bustling streets of New York to the remote outposts in the wilds of Africa, Earth's defense was unified, strong, and determined. Meanwhile, the Zorvian command ship hovered above Earth, its leaders growing anxious. They had seen the strength of humanity in the past months, but they still believed they could crush the humans if they launched a full-scale attack. Commander Zothak stood at the helm, glaring down at the planet below. "This will be the final battle," Zothak muttered. "We will show them who truly rules the galaxy. Earth will fall, and humanity's resistance will be nothing but a memory." His second-in-command, Tressa, watched him closely. "The humans have the Force Matrix," she reminded him. "It disabled our ships before. We can't underestimate them." Zothak's gaze was cold and unwavering. "We will adapt. The Matrix can't stop us forever. We'll find a way to crush them once and for all." As the Zorvian fleet prepared to launch their assault, the humans made their move. Earth's military unleashed the new version of the Force Matrix, a powerful wave of energy designed to disable the Zorvian ships in space. The results were immediate. The first wave of Zorvian ships began to malfunction, their engines sputtering and their weapons falling silent. The Matrix had struck again. But this time, the Zorvians were ready. They had anticipated the Matrix's power and had developed a countermeasure. A series of small, agile ships darted from the main fleet, avoiding the Matrix's full effect. They were fast, maneuverable, and deadly. The Zorvians had learned from their mistakes. As the Zorvian ships fought back against the Matrix, Earth's forces launched their own offensive. The skies above Earth became a battleground, filled with the roar of engines and the flashing of weapons. Humans, in ships of their own, fought fiercely to protect their world. On the ground, the resistance fighters prepared for their final push. The Zorvians were entrenched in several key locations, but the humans were coming. General Langford's forces moved swiftly, securing strategic positions to protect key infrastructure and ensure a safe route for the final assault. The battle raged across continents, and the stakes could not have been higher. Earth's soldiers held nothing back. They fought not just for survival, but for the future of their planet. The Zorvians, despite their technological superiority, found themselves facing a foe they could not easily defeat. In a remote control room deep within the Earth Defense Command, Dr. Evelyn Clark watched the battle unfold. She had spent countless hours working on the Force Matrix, but she knew it wasn't enough. Humanity needed more than just technology. They needed a will to survive, a spirit that no alien force could crush. "This is it," Dr. Clark whispered to herself, watching the battle with a mix of fear and hope. "We've come too far to lose now." The Zorvian fleet was in disarray. Despite their advanced weaponry, they were no match for the relentless drive of Earth's forces. One by one, their ships fell from the sky. The human resistance was growing stronger, and the Zorvian leaders were beginning to panic. Commander Zothak stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching in disbelief as his fleet was torn apart. His soldiers were retreating, and the humans were pressing forward. This was not the victory he had promised. The Zorvians were losing, and it was becoming clear that their empire's hold over Earth was slipping away. "This cannot be happening," Zothak roared. "We cannot be defeated by these humans." But it was too late. The humans had turned the tide. With their final push, they had broken through the Zorvian defenses. Earth's forces had won. As the last Zorvian ships fell from the sky, the resistance fighters raised their weapons in triumph. The battle was over. Earth had won, and humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. But the war was not over yet. The Galactic Council had been watching, and the future of humanity was still uncertain. For now, though, Earth had won its greatest victory. And with that victory, humanity had proven that they were not just survivors. They were warriors. The smoke from the final battle still hung in the air, but Earth was free. The Zorvian fleet had been shattered, their remaining forces scattered and broken. The ground trembled as the last of their warships fell from the sky, the world's skies clearing for the first time in months. It was a hard-won victory, but humanity had done what once seemed impossible. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's people celebrated in the streets. It wasn't just a victory over the Zorvians. It was a victory for humanity itself. The planet, once viewed as weak and insignificant, had proven its strength and resilience. Earth was no longer a target for conquest. It was a symbol of defiance, of the unwavering spirit of its people. President Rachel Harris stood on the balcony of the White House, gazing out at the crowds below. The cheers of millions echoed through the streets, but in her heart, she knew the fight was far from over. The Zorvians were defeated, but the galaxy was watching. And the Galactic Council, the powerful assembly of alien civilizations, had yet to make their move. "We've done it, Mom," General Langford said, stepping beside her. "The Zorvian threat is over. Earth is safe." Rachel nodded, but the weight of the situation still pressed heavily on her. "We've won this battle, but the war for Earth's future is just beginning. The Council will be paying attention to us now." General Langford's expression grew serious. "Yes, they've been watching us closely since the beginning. They'll want to know if we're a threat or an ally." "And if we're a threat?" Rachel asked, her voice soft but firm. "They'll do what they've always done," he replied. "They'll try to control us. The Council isn't known for letting planets rise too quickly, but humanity has proven we can stand on our own. We don't need their approval." Rachel turned to face him, determination in her eyes. "We don't, but we may need their cooperation. We need to show them that Earth is not a world to be conquered, but a world to be respected. Our future is in our hands now." In the days that followed, Earth began to rebuild. The cities that had once been battlefields were now places of hope and recovery. The human spirit, tested by months of war, was now stronger than ever. It wasn't just the military that had won the war. It was every citizen, every person who had fought, sacrificed, and never given up. Dr. Evelyn Clark, who had worked tirelessly to develop the force matrix technology, stood in the laboratory where it all began. She looked at the data on the screens, seeing the potential for even greater advancements. The technology had saved Earth, but it was just the beginning. There was so much more to explore, to understand. Humanity's potential is limitless, she whispered to herself, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. But the Galactic Council was already making its move. Representatives from across the galaxy had gathered in a hidden meeting space, discussing the rise of Earth and its unexpected victory. The Zorvian Collective, once a dominant power, had been humbled, and the Council knew that the balance of power in the galaxy was changing. "We cannot ignore Earth any longer," said Lord Talver, the Pranak leader. His species had once been a dominant force in the galaxy, but now they feared being overshadowed by humanity's rapid rise. "They've defeated the Zorvians, and their technology is advancing faster than we anticipated." "Indeed," agreed Threx, the Tylarian strategist. "They've shown resilience, intelligence, and strength. Earth is no longer a backwater planet. It has the potential to become a major power in the galaxy." "But how do we deal with them?" Captain Rythik of the Sindari race asked. "If we treat them as a threat, they may retaliate. But if we ignore them, they may become a force we cannot control." The Council was divided. Some believed that humanity should be crushed before it could rise further. Others, like Threx, believed that Earth should be embraced, its knowledge and technology shared for the good of the galaxy. But no one could agree on what to do next. The Council knew that Earth would no longer bow to their will. The human spirit was too strong, too unpredictable. Back on Earth, President Harris prepared for her next move. She knew the Council would soon reach out, and when they did, she had to be ready. The future of Earth rested on the decisions she would make in the coming days. Humanity had proven its strength. Now it would prove its wisdom. Rachel stood in front of the gathered leaders, her voice strong and confident. "We have earned our place in the galaxy. We have shown that we will not be subjugated. But we are not here to conquer. We are here to work with others, to build a future that benefits us all. The Zorvians failed because they underestimated us. We will not make that same mistake. We will respect those who respect us, and we will fight to protect what is ours." Her words echoed across the room, and for the first time, the leaders of Earth saw a future beyond the war, a future of peace, of unity, and of cooperation. The galaxy was vast, and it was uncertain, but humanity had proven it could stand on its own. It was no longer a fragile species caught in the middle of intergalactic politics. Earth had become a new force in the universe, a force that would shape its destiny. As the stars glimmered in the sky above, humanity knew that the future was bright. The road ahead would be filled with challenges, but they would face them together. The dawn of a new era had begun, and Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a beacon of hope in the galaxy.